Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the video tutorial series for paper 2, Breaking Down a Rumor of War. There's a lecture that I want you to refer back to, and it's called Knee Deep in the Big Muddy. And in this lecture, I trace the origins, at least the American origins, for the war in Vietnam. And if you recall, when American troops begin to be deployed to Vietnam, it's in the Kennedy years, and there's a guy by the name of Robert McNamara who's going to serve as the Secretary of Defense for both JFK as well as Lyndon Johnson. His name is Robert McNamara. And from the very start of this conflict, especially as Americans were beginning to be sent into the conflict, McNamara was clear that this was going to come down to hearts and minds. In other words, we were going to need to win the hearts and the minds of the people of Vietnam if this thing was going to work. Here's the problem. McNamara, if you recall from this lecture, essentially designed a war of attrition. We were going to kill more of their guys than they were going to kill of our guys. Now, in class, I always like to ask people who lost more men during the Civil War, the North or the South, and it quickly comes out that it was the North that lost more men but still won the war, because the way that you measure success in warfare is how much territory that you take. The problem with the war that we're fighting in Vietnam is we're just trying to kill as many enemies as we possibly can. That's literally the mission that's given to people like Philip Caputo. Go into enemy territory, go into parts of the jungle, kill as many of them as you can, and then come back home. Now, this is a very problematic way of designing war for a number of different reasons, but more than anything else, it encourages high kill ratios. This issue actually comes out very vividly in A Rumor of War, especially in chapters 9 and 10 of that book. I want to take you to a specific part of this chapter 10. And if your book looks like my book, this is on page 166, and it's nice because it's right at the top of page 166. He's describing the role that he plays in what he calls the Officer of the Dead. His job is to count the number of enemy combatants that U.S. forces have killed. And his job is also to count the number of U.S. casualties, people killed in action, that we in fact took. So listen up. My job was simply to report on casualties, enemy as well as our own. Casualties due to hostile action and those due to non-hostile action. The accidents that inevitably occur where there are large numbers of young men armed with lethal weapons or at the controls of complicated machinery. Now, skip down to that next paragraph. It was not the simple task that it seemed. The military has elaborate procedures for everything, and keeping records of the dead and wounded is no exception. Not the simple task that what he's describing here is the tactics of Robert McNamara's war. We are literally going to count our way to victory. We're going to kill so many more of their guys than they're going to kill of ours, they'll have no other option but to eventually throw in the towel. Like I said, this is problematic for a number of different reasons. Go back and take a look at my Civil War example. But there's also something else that we talked about in that same lecture that I was referring to a few minutes ago. In 1967, with an election on the horizon, both Lyndon Johnson as well as Robert McNamara is going to go on a publicity tour. And they're basically going to use these statistics to highlight how much we're winning this war. They are going to cast a false sense of optimism on how the war is going. And basically what they're going to say is victory is within our grasp. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, you have to understand that before 1968, basically, if the government said something was so, Americans, conservative Americans, liberal Americans, all Americans, they pretty much took it at face value. The bottom's going to fall out of that January 30th, 1968. This is going to come to be known as the Tet Offensive. It's going to coincide with the Vietnamese New Year, Tet. And what you're going to see all across South Vietnam are massive assaults. And you see them not in the jungles, not in the countryside, but in the cities where American forces were strongest. Keep in mind, Vietnam is really the first televised war in American history, so this is coming into your living rooms. And everybody's looking at these images where Americans are being attacked, and it does not look good. And they look around and they begin to ask themselves, but I thought we were winning. And the sense of being lied to is absolutely overwhelming. It might be a stretch to say that we were on the cusp of defeat, but there was no way we were winning the war the way that LBJ and McNamara had said that we were. So as we wrap up this segment of our tutorial, what I'd like to do is really two things. Number one, if you're looking for a good connector between the Yop document reader as well as Caputo, look no further than Chapter 27. In Chapter 27, there's a document entitled Oral History of George M. Garcia, Vietnam veteran. He's a lot like Caputo in the sense that he describes so much anxiety, so much psychological pressure through these missions of being sent into the jungle with a objective of killing as many enemies as he possibly can. These search and destroy, ambush, hit and run missions that are really being conducted by both sides are taking huge amounts of psychological tolls on our soldiers. Now, that leads me to my next point. In that lecture entitled Knee Deep in the Big Muddy, I introduced you to these people that we call the Viet Cong. And without going too far back, understand that the Viet Cong were basically an insurgency. These were enemy combatants, but they did not dress in military fatigues. They didn't identify themselves. They looked like civilians. They functioned like civilians, and that was on design. They were trying to blend into the civilian community to kind of make this as effective as they possibly could, to kill as many of their enemy combatants as they possibly could. So understand that being sent into a place that has something like a village could be really, really anxiety inducing, because you can't tell a friendly Vietnamese from an unfriendly Vietnamese if you think about this in the context of the Viet Cong. Now, this is going to have incredibly tragic consequences, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in our final segment.